Okay, welcome to Microsoft 365 UK user group. Thank you for joining us today, which is our 9th edition for the M365 UK. And just check the attendees register at the moment, and we've got about 100 also registered for today's event. So really thank you for that and appreciate for taking your time out. And so, with this, the event is being recorded, and the slides from the speakers will be available. So hopefully we'll try and make that available to you by this Friday. So feel free to post your questions in the top right in the question mark icon to our speakers. And any feedback or any thoughts you have, just feel free to post them in the Q&A. So the sessions we have today are we got the kind of excellent speakers today with us. We got Gosia Borzecka, and also we've got Kevin McDonnell, both from UK here, and fantastic topics we have on bots, creating bots with the bot framework composer, and really kind of part of it to reside them in SharePoint, Teams, and really even hosted on those platforms as well. So we'll touch base with Gosia in a moment or so, and then we have a break around 10 minutes, very informal in terms of if we do run late or finish slightly early, it's not a problem. We can still take the questions around that. But then we have a second session today with Kevin McDonnell on Microsoft Search. So basically the what's and whys, and it's constantly changing that area of Microsoft 365. So both fantastic sessions. Really looking forward to all the content and even learn a thing or two from that as well. So we'll kind of just go to them in a sec. For those of you who are not aware, I'm Chirag Patel. I live and work in London, and I'm one of the organizer and also the host for Microsoft 365 UK, and basically work with Patel Consulting, delivering secure collaboration, information management, and productivity solutions through M365, Teams, Yammer. Also, I'm a Microsoft MVP in Office Apps and Services for mainly my contributions in speaking at various community events, including organizing this user group as well. So feel free to connect with me on techchirag.com, and all the information for M365 UK is on my blog site as well. So try and keep connect with that. But also we have Twitter handle at M365UK, hashtag M365UK as well. So please feel free to post your thoughts and feedback on the sessions for today. In terms of, we got some more sessions planned for the coming months. Coming up next month, we have with us Seb Matthews and also Veronique Lengel for both, again, great topics on Office 365 governance, as well as the PowerShell PnP for IT pros. So if you haven't already registered, then please feel free to do so on meetup.com/M365 UK. And alternatively, if any of you have any case studies or any topics that you wish to present, I'm always looking for speakers. Then feel free to submit just a couple of questions on that form on techchirag.ag/M365 CFS. So you have all those links available on my blog site, and I'll post them in the Q&A later on as well. So hopefully you can join us next month on the 17th of March. Okay, so we'll kind of just head over to Gosia in a sec, but I think I just wanted to really introduce her. Gosia is kind of very active in the community. She's a .NET developer, two-time MVP award holder in the AI category, and she also gets involved in various other community activities as well. And she's one of the co-organizers at .NET Dev Workshop that happens every month as well. So it's great to have you here, Gosia, today, and really looking forward to your session about creating bot and with the bot framework composer and generally all things bot related. So without further ado, Gosia, over to you.
Okay, hello. So I will go to share my slides. Okay, I hope you can see them.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, so hello, my name is Gosia Borzecka. I'm originally from Poland, but live here in UK in Hocknell, where Ada Lovelace is resting place. And I'm an AI MVP and Office 365 developer. And today I would like to talk to you about bot framework Composer. So, so this what I would like to cover is what are bots, what is bot framework, and what we can do with bot framework Composer. So how to start, how to build, and how to publish them. But before we go there, we need to think about what are exactly bots. And bots are the applications that have automated tasks. So they are also with conversational interface. So you can talk to them and go anywhere where your audience is going. So it doesn't matter, it's website, mobile, it should be always there for your business. And to be fair, supporting the bots is very maturing because new generation is thinking little different than our parents and when the computer came on started to be. So it's really, really great to have in your business bots and start using them. And when we think about chatbots, we already use them. So the most popular one, they are like Siri that we use on our iPhones. Or if we have Android, we have Google now. Or in homes, we use Alexa, Cortana in our workplace, or Messenger on Facebook, where a lot of businesses move there with the bots. If we think about bots, is there really something new? And based on history, there are not. So back to 1950, there was the Turing test. So Alan Turing checked if the machine could be intelligent and based on text-only conversation, if they could find if there is human on the computer. Next, in 1966, came ELIZA. So it's psychotherapist who could help people with how they feel. Next, in 1972, the new chatbot Parry came, and Parry was little different than Eliza because he had paranoid schizophrenia. So he tried to simulate how the people with a lot of different condition could talk with other people. In 1988, the Jabberwocky came, and it was released. It was released on 1997 online, and it was simulated to natural human chat in an interesting, entertaining, and humorous manner. In 1992, the Dr. Espastio came, and it was the first AI speech synthesis program created for an MS-DOS. It was also a psychologist that interact with digital voice with people. And 1995, came Alice, artificial linguistic internet computer entity, a neural language processing bot, and she could apply a lot of patterns to human input, but she not passed the Turing test. And next we come with more interesting bits that already we are using. So like IBM's Watson in 2006, in 2010 Siri came. So I think everyone using Siri or Google now. That came in 2012. Then Alexa in 2015, and I think everyone almost have them in their house. And also Cortana came in 2015, and next bots for messengers. But in 2016, it's come also one bot, and you can see the picture on the slides. And his name or her name was Tai, and she should be a teenager that learn from the people. But it go on Twitter, and by few hours she turn into really not good person, and Microsoft decided to turn off because it was really nasty language that she started to use. And as every synonyms like bots, this also changed. So it's called conversational AI because this is all agents that can talk with people. And one of this example is the bot framework. So when we think about bot, we need to start from thinking about how we can design our bot. So first, what we need to do is plan what really we want from the bot, what it should do, and then start building, go to test and find if everything is work exactly how we would like to have, then publish and connect. So end user can use them on any platform they like to, and evaluate, because like all softwares, it needs to go and evaluate and build and add new models and other stuff. So based on pizza order bot, how we should go with this. So first we should go and greet the user and then ask if user wish to what they want to wish to order. And user can select pizza. And next they can use the size of them and what kind of dough or crust type, and if they want any sauce, and if they want any topping on. And they can choose a lot of toppings, so we can add extra questions until they answer no. And next, user probably would like to choose some cheese if they like to. And if yes, then on how big coverage it should go. And it's any sites they would like to, and you should repeat until no more sites there will be. And what kind of delivery or pickup they would like to have, and go with payments, confirm order, and conversation. So it's a basic pizza order bot, how it should work. And of course you can think that you can add more information, such as message people where the order is, when it's ready, and ask about some feedback. And we've designed the user experience. We also need to think what kind of experience we would like to have. So things like tags, or if we would like to speak to people, or use rich user controls, or something like adaptive cards. So examples like audio, animation, sign in, and suggested action. So user can just check and click, not only type or speak to them. I think the one of good thing is to create a handoff to humans. Is because sometimes when a user coming to bot, they could be really angry if they not find the answer what they're looking for. And there are two types that you can go with them. So first you can create an agent hub, and go an agent hub will decide that there are any human agent free to answer the call or answer the chat, or use your bot. Or other bit, you can use like create a message router when it will be your bot, and you can talk to bot, and if there no any answer find, it can go to the human using agent hub. So how to bot work is working. So we have some input from the user, so they can type, speak, or using adaptive cards. And then we can use channels such as Skype, Messenger, Teams, Cortana, or mail, or anything. Or we can use some devices, IoT devices like clock or car or anything at home. And all of this is going to Azure Bot Service. And this is the basic what you will create. And after that, you can think what you would like to add more. So you can add speech or Q&A, language understanding, visual, or any other cognitive services. You can add your personality to your bot. And as well, you can connect with some knowledge and a data source that you have, some PDFs, if you have your Q&A. You can add some skills like tasks, calendar, other bots, and connect to API, Office Graph, or Active Directory to get information about your company. So the main thing how bot works is that we have some user joins, so it's going with HTTP post and it's going back that the connection is established, and then bot join and user can start talking to the bot saying hi. So this is example of the EcoBot that always saying exactly the same with the bot, and we can see that the connection is always on and waiting that user will back with any question. The good thing with bot framework is that it's open source. So if you are a developer, you can work on any language you like. So it's Java, C#, JS, Python. Everything is on GitHub. So you can choose some SDK, version 4 or version 3 if you're still using. There are a lot of CLI tools. You have an emulator to work on it, some web chat controls, a really great documentation, and a lot of bot builder samples that you can go on and find how they work. But there is also something like bot framework composer. So if you don't know anything about C#, Python, Java, but you know, like a Power Platform, it could be more easy for you to come and create a bot framework just using bot framework composer. So what we can do with composer, it is designed and built in a conversational experience. It's visual authoring, so we can see how it works. It's integrate language understanding tools, so like Louis and QnA Maker, so we can add them very easily. It's using as well language generator, and it's open source on GitHub, so you can see how it works. You can add your input as well, and it's cross-platform, so it doesn't matter if you like Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, you still can install it and use them on your favorite OS. So what is language generation? So like on this example, we can create some templates. So starting from greeting prefix, we have hi and hello. So this is something what bot will get and randomly get to end user. So it will choose hi or hello. And then we have time of day greeting. So we can as well use if and else if to choose which time of day is. And with greeting replay, we just can combine these two. So like today, it will be hi or hello. And because it's after 4 p.m., it will be good afternoon. The next one is language understanding. So there are three terms what language understanding using. One is utterance, so it's something that user may say. So this what we think that user will say or could say. Entity, so it's the item, device, so we don't need to mention like what kind of device, but we can see that it's a device, or we can see that this is location, but we don't need to put every location of the word. And intent, so it's represent a purpose of goals. So this is when we will know what we should do when users say hello, so it should go to greetings, and we know that we will get and greet the user. And all of this is based on NLU concept, so it's neural language understanding. And main thing, and I really like this GIF, is that it's trying to find what the subject is and finding information that we as the human will probably do the same. So it's finding here that the London is this capital of the UK, and it's most polluous, and it's founded by the Romans. The next thing that we can use in Board is QnA Maker. So it's easy way to create your QnA. So this is what you need. You just need some question and answer. You can get them from any source like PDF, Word, or even site, and put them here and on QnA Maker, and it starts really easily working. And as well, you can use QnA Maker and LUIS together, so you can choose which one it should go. So if user want any action or just would like to have knowledge that we already put in QnA. And this what both Framework Composer use. It's using adaptive dialogue. So we have some triggers that we run. This is what we want that bot do. Actions, so exactly what will we do, and we're using language generator to work on it. And as well, after that, when we create a bot, we can add other services, and there are plenty of them, starting from cognitive services and going with your custom APIs as well. And one great thing is personality chat. It's still in, I think it's in preview. So, but in QnA Maker, when you create, you can add your personality chat. So it can be professional, enthusiastic, or friendly. And you can think how your business is and how professional it should be, the bot. So how to start with Composer? First, you need to install .NET Core SDK 3.1, it's minimum, bot framework emulator to test your bot, and of course, bot framework Composer. So everything is on GitHub. You can get the latest version from there and install on your favorite OS. You can build as well the Composer locally from the source code. So to extra what you need to have Node.js and Yarn. So you need to go install, build, and start all. It's take a while before you download from GitHub and run this one, but after that, it's really easy to use it. And as well, you can host your Composer on your site. So it's, if you would like to have more people from your team to work on the same bot, it's good to create this one. But you need to have Azure subscription, you need to create a VM and set up everything over there. So there's a link where you can easily go and set up this one. And Bot Framework Composer, it's an app that we can work on it, where you have menu, triggers, navigation, and everything around. So I think it's good time for the demo now. I will move Craig. So we're going to start a run Bot Framework Composer and going with new, and we can create something from scratch. We can create from knowledge base, or we can create from templates. So when we go with templates, we have something like EchoBot. So we're just creating, adding a name. If you want, we can change, of course. And this is our bot. So we have two things like unknown intent. So it's just saying every time you put this exactly the same activity, and it's going to greet the user. So we have loop for each time it's going to welcome user. And if we want to see what welcome user is, we can go to bot response. And in common, we can see that it's welcome to the EcoBot sample. And we can change this one to say welcome to the M365 UK user group. And next we can just only go and start a bot. So it will now build everything what we've done. So how you see, I'm not save anything. It's automatically saved for me. So now it's starting the bot, and we can see it's going slowly. And in a few seconds, it should be ready. Okay, I need to allow to use. And here I can test in my emulator. So now I click, it's going to open my emulator and automatically it's connect. And how I see it's create my welcome message. And now when I say anything, it just repeat what I said. So it's the simplest bot and easy one that you can create. So let's stop this one. And you have a lot of examples, and they are really great that you can go and learn from them. So for example, like to do with Louis, you can go and create a sample. And now it's done everything for you. So we have, again, welcome user, we have add new task, delete, and everything. And we have some other dialogues, what to do and do which one. And how you see, I have this red one because it's saying that it's missing a Louis key. So it needs to be created and add authoring one. So to do that, we need to go to Azure. Let me show you. Where's my screen? Here. And go to create resource and find AI or just tap Louis. And it's finding Louis understanding. And we're going to create. So we can do both or only authoring when we want to use Louis to get information, or prediction if we would like to predict extra one, if we would like to predict what user will say. So for this example, I will use only authoring one. I will just get or create user group, add the name. So M365 UK Louis. And here we just going with location. I using usually US Europe because they, after US, they have almost every resources what they have. And then we can choose the pricing tier. So I have still a free one and can create, and it's really, really quick to go and create your Louis application. It takes really a few seconds and we have it. So this what we need to go is just get a key and back to our bot and add authoring key. And region, we just can choose from here one. And now we are able to start our bot. So I will back to this one and go to Louis AI. So this is where your all language understanding will come. I will sign in. It's loading. And it's old one. Sorry. Oh, choose different authoring resource, and here we can see this what we have. So I just create this one and can click done. And how we see it just create for me. So I have this empty one and it's done and create one for me. And here I can see everything what will happen. So what we have, like if someone asks why, so what should be done. And we have as well the score. So score is telling us how good we predict, or how good Louis predict that user will say this one. So when we go back to bot, I run this one so I can test again. And now we can see that show. So what would like to see, which one, and if we click all, there is nothing. So we can back with help, and oh, help is not working. So let's start again. So let's add something like test to do, and it's already added. So this is how easy you can create a to-do list with Louis. So next, I would like to create together with you a weather bot. So let's start from scratch and go to create a weather bot. 365 UK. So it's starting with first greetings, and we always can change the name. So we can add things like welcome user. So something that will be more close for us. And how you see, we have here the response welcome user again. So we can go here and to common and change this one, and we can add more than one. So when we go and click edit, we can back and add more information. So one important thing is that each of them is starting with the slash. So it's telling the language that it's how the conversation bot response starting. So if I remove this one, like here, it just will telling me that, oh, this is missing. So we need to add the prefix. And now when I start bot again, it will just randomly select one of this to greet the user. So always the first start is a little slower because it's need to build all the package from beginning. So again, start, test. Oh, only one. And how we see it's hello, I'm a weatherbot. And when we restart the conversation, every time it just randomly select which one we would like to see. And as well, we have some log information, what we work on and what's go, what we send, and if anything back to us. So let's back to design and create a new dialog. And we're going with get weather. So click OK. We can as well add some description if we would like to. And we'll start with some response like, let's check the weather. And now to use this dialog, we need to go and add trigger. So we can click add trigger. And here you can see it's going with Louis. But in beginning, we don't want to start with extra services. So when you click here, you have default recognizer, and this means it's Louis, but we can choose regular expression. So it will be only based on this what we're now creating, and it's changed now. So we can choose intent recognizer, and we can add some name and input. So this means when user type weather, then this action will happen. So we're going to begin a new dialog. And from here, we can just choose this what we created. And when we run again, it should work for us. So let's restart conversation, click type weather. And we can see this what we type, it's already here. So we have, let's check the weather. So next bit, what we would like to add is to check, ask user what is a zip code. So we're going to ask a question, and this will be a text. So we're going to add what is your zip code. And in input, in property, we're going to add a variable that will be assigned to. So it's user zip code. It's this what you choose should be. So it's nothing that coming outside. It's your variable name. And next we're going to add trim. So if there will be any space or anything, then we want to remove them. So, and this value, what will come. And when we click other, we have few options. So we have recognizer. So we can write again that if bot will not recognize that, we can say sorry, but this value, what user just typed, is not 5-digit zip code. This will be based on US zip codes. That's why it's only 5-digit. And next as well, we can add invalid prompt. So if there will be something what will not come with our validation, then we can put here. And okay. So now when we have all of this, we would like to create a HTTP request. So to call the weather and find what weather is now. So we have access external resource and send a HTTP request. So we'll just get the weather, and we will use one moment. And we'll use created by Ignite, the API from the weather. I just get the token, so you can find that it's back with respond and it's cloud, and we put red one because we put here the zip code. So we can get this code and put in URL, but because we will ask user what is zip code, and we already create a variable, so we'll use user and zip code as a variable. So this is how we set up the variable in our URL. Next, we would like to have some response. So here we're going to add dialog because we are on dialog, and API response. And here will be response type JSON. And if this happened, we would like to see if it's true or not. So we'll check if else condition. So we can write our one. So if dialog API response dot status code equals 200, so if it's okay, then we would like to send a response. First, we will go with set a property, so property or variable, and we will call this dialog weather. And dialog weather will be dialog API response dot content. And now we can send the response. So the weather is, and we can say how many degrees based on API. But if something go wrong, we want as well to send the response. So we would like to send that it's got some error message. So it's only one. And now we can restart the bot. And because already we created trigger, it should work for us. And when we restart and click weather, it's working. So let's add some sample. So this is Seattle, and it's going back with information for us. So we just create a basic bot, and next step, when we've done that, we can add, of course, more information like help, cancel, like adaptive cards, and wherever we would like to have this better. But this, what we would like to have is as well to publish the bot. So we have from the composer that enabled to publish, we can manage profiles. And here we can add a new profile. So we can add bot M365 UK user group, and copy. And we can choose where we would like to publish this on Azure Web App, Azure Function, or Power Virtual Agent. I will go with Azure Web App. Create next. and I need to log in. So one trick of this one is that you need to have work on school account. You cannot do it for now on personal account. If you'd like to do on personal account, then you need to use Azure CLI to import them. So I'm going to get a subscription, add the name of my resource group of a new resource group, so bot composer M365, and select location where this will be. So I will choose West Europe. Click next, and here I can add extra information. So the main one is created required. It's a bot, composer registration, and app registration. But if I would like to have, I can have extra Azure DB Cosmos inside to check how application is working, blob storage to get extra information, language understanding, authoring, or prediction, and QnA. So this could be created for me by bot composer. So next I'm going to click OK, and it's going to provision. And let me open. Okay. So I can see this Azure now. And the new bot is just here, creating new resource group, and it's slowly coming to go. So it's starting with Azure Service Plan, and slowly we'll add more. So let's see how it works. So now it should be everything. Refresh. And we have bot channel registration, service plan, and app service. But it's only create for us everything. Now we need to publish, so we can go close this one and publish select bot. We can as comment, so we know what's going. And now it's going to publish my bot. So it will take a while. But next, when we go here, we'll be able to test this in the web chat. So it's really easy to find this one. But because as I don't have this one, and when I go to channels, I can see issues. So it's really also great that you can find information that, oh, your bot is not found because it's not exists yet, because I'm just publishing it. So it's slowly going. It's as well showing messages, what it's doing now. And it's not taking long, but a little bit more than for this session. So I will show another bot that I created. So let's back to my resource groups. This one. Sorry, I just don't want to show everything what I have on this Azure. So let's back all resource group. Check this, what I want to show. Okay. So here I have both M365 weather. What I created before is exactly the same, how you can see. And when we go to channels, we can add more like Microsoft Teams or web chat or direct line. So direct line could be used for Office 365 to enable it there. And as well, we can test this one in the web chat. So it should come, greet me, and when I go with weather, it is going and find here the weather, what is exactly there. So this is how easy you can create and go with channels. So if we go like here to Microsoft Teams and we would like to use this one, so it will go and use the web instead. And as well, we'll open the Teams and we can start and easily use. And easily use this one. Let me open in another browser. So cancel this one. Sorry. Open. Okay. So now it's connected to my bot 365 weather. And I don't know why it's disabled, but it's not my channel. But you can easily come and start using this normally on your Teams as well. So this was how you can start and create a bot framework composer. Here you have some resources when you can find a lot of great information. So you can go on Microsoft documentation. As well, you can go with Microsoft Learn and go with it and done step by step how it works. So thank you for your session. You can find me on the website, Twitter, and Instagram if you would like to.
That's great, Gosia. Thank you very much for that brilliant session. Love the demos, and I think there were quite a few of them as well. So I think I was trying to follow, and we've got a few questions as well. So if you're kind of ready, maybe grab a glass of water or something.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Kind of a couple of minutes, but I'll kind of just queue up the questions for you. So if you don't mind, I can read them out to you.
Yes.
Okay, so we got first question from Andrew McCallum regarding the bot framework. One query he's come across is the billing side of things, which most probably everybody echoes that in terms of that the prices can vary with regards to the billing. So do you have any recommendations on how to manage the spend or overview regarding cost controls?
So it depends what you will use. So bot framework, how you saw it can use also Azure functions, not only app services, because app service can be more expensive, but you can move to Azure function. But extra, if you just starting adding more services, it's more expensive. So like Louis and QnA, it's just adding the cost for you. But
Yeah.
as well at the same time, you're getting the services that you don't need to write by yourself.
Sure. Okay. No, thanks for that. We've got a second question from Andrew as well. In terms of from his scenario, for his corporate clients where he's involved in projects, they often have manual chat-based teams running this bot. So in terms of how they scale this to a chatbot can cause some conflict regarding automation plus support guidance and regarding the IT support. So how best to set up and run and maintain in terms of the continuity of the ongoing support?
Support of bot framework composer or just bot generally?
I think if we can maybe tackle the bot framework composer and then maybe go into the bots in general, if we can, that would be great.
So Bot Framework Composer is still updating. You can, if you have any issue, you can put on GitHub, and they resolved by not only community but as well as Microsoft. So you can go there and put issue, and there will be a lot of people who will just answer your question, because there is a lot of geeks who love Bot Composer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I guess from an IT service perspective, if one was to support amongst their other services that they have, then do you have any views around that? How best to support that solution that may incorporate the bot framework composer or the bots in generally?
Like I think other Azure things, because it's based on Azure. So it
Mhm.
depends how you choose to have this bot. It's app service, Azure function, or other. I think it was Power Assistant.
Okay,
Yeah. So it depends how your structure of application will be go.
right. So I guess it will fall in the domain of application architecture side of things in
Yeah.
terms of what services depend on that
Yeah.
bot, for example.
Yeah,
Okay.
because for now, when you have this bot composer, you can go with on your own machine and work on this and create a zip and then share on GitHub or whatever, or set up your own virtual machine when you can work in a team.
Mhm. Okay, sure. No, that's great. Just got a couple more questions, if I may. We got one question from Tony Paul. It's a great overview of your session. Pricing is the topic for most customers, then using the bot framework composer. Do you have any recommendations just how to use it optimally?
Not for now. So we are also in the preview for customers, so we're not yet there where we can recommend any price and how it should be the best
Sure.
for everyone.
Okay. No, that's a fair
I
answer.
just don't want to bet people, in bad ideas, as
No, of course, no.
we're still on
It's
the same phase.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fair answer. I guess probably wait for a few months when things come out. So hopefully there'll be
Yeah.
more materials. But nevertheless, a good question from Tony. And then we have a question from Hans Brenda. Q&A Maker editor is not user friendly. It works within Q&A Maker, but if you have insert additional characters for interrupt with Teams, you cannot use that anymore. So it kind of kills these additional characters and no real kind of word formatting that you can actually enter in there. So his question is more around, do you have any information regarding those specific issues?
No, I'm not find this issue, but probably you can compare both QnA and Louis, but it's also, again, make more cost. But I'm not found this issue, so I cannot answer why this
Sure.
happened.
Okay, that's fine. And I think just about kind of 10 minutes ago, while you were demoing something to do with the dialog interface that was on your home screen. If only if you're able to recall that. Do you know what that dialog interface on the home screen was? What was its purpose there? Or was that one of the dialog box that you designed for interactivity?
So this one, so the dialogue is like one talk we have. So like here we will talk only about weather and nothing else.
Mhm.
And as well, we can finish this when we go, so end this dialogue, so we can have a clear view. That's why as well we create triggers, so when this new dialogue should go. So it's good to separate everything, like here, to have in separate one. Of course, I can write this in one trigger, but it's better to have more clear solution.
Okay. Was there another dialog box as well, apart from this particular one?
You mean this welcome user, or?
Yeah, onto the project homepage. So if you go to the project homepage,
so we are here on dialogues.
Okay. So you got adaptive. Okay, maybe it's not here. Okay, let me park this one because there's a question from Detlef who's asking
okay.
that.
So I can answer later on the chat then.
Sure. Okay, now that'll be great. All right. Okay, I think that's all the questions we've had. So I think just looking at the clock, coming up to 5 p.m. here in the UK. So I just want to try and wrap up if I can. So yeah, once again, really appreciate your time, Gosia, for taking the time off for being here. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure, and I think that there's a lot to learn in terms of all the technology that's going around with the bots, and especially with various platforms and everything else. So very good session, very good demos, and great set of questions from the users. So again, to the attendees, thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll take a break for about 10 minutes or so, and we'll then catch up onto our second session, and then we'll touch base 10 past 5 our local time here. So I just wanted to kind of just say one more time, thanks, Gosia. I know you were not feeling 100%, and you did really well for being here with us. So I owe it to you, and please take care of yourself. And for everybody else, we got Kevin McDonnell coming up next. Everything to do with Microsoft Search, the what, the why, and the how. And so grab some popcorn and coffee, and if you can please also fill out some feedback. There's about 3 or 4 questions, very short form. Then that will really help Gosia in also maybe improve and add other bits to the presentation for future demos and things like that. So see you back in 10 minutes. Thanks, everyone. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to M365 UK, and we've had a first session already with Gosia. For some of you who may not have been able to join, it was a brilliant session we had on all things about bots, in particular making bots with the bots framework composer. So check out on Friday when the recording is available if you have missed it. But the next session we have with us is Kevin McDonnell. And it's all about Microsoft Search, the what's, the whys, and hows, and pretty much it touches all the workloads that there are with SharePoint and other areas of data sources and everything else. So really looking forward to this session because it's one of the areas that's growing, and I really hope soon in terms of SharePoint refiners and verticals, all those things come about through Microsoft Search. But Kevin and I, we worked in terms of in the community at a few events we've been there, knowing for a few years, very good, active in community, and really he's a solution architect at CPS. Pretty much doing all things Microsoft 365, intranets, digital workplace. And recently he's publishing some of the blog posts around Microsoft Viva, which is a new product category from Microsoft. So some great stories there as well, and blog posts. So if you haven't, then please do check that out on mcd79.com. But without further ado, I'll hand over to Kevin. And Kevin, I look forward to a session. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Chirag. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a chance to see each other face to face. So fingers crossed sometime this year, but we'll keep going with all that. Right. Oh, and always the way when you share screen, all your screens muddle around. So let me just get those up and say hello. Thank you very much. You've done a lot of my intro for me, Chirag, so I will crack straight onto things, talk about myself a little bit more. But as Chirag said, we're talking about Microsoft Search. It feels like something that's quite underplayed at the moment, that it's just there. People think it's SharePoint Search, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll see that there's a little bit more to it. So as Chirag said, I'm Kevin McDonnell, I'm a solutions architect at CPS. We're a Microsoft Gold partner based in the UK. Do all sorts of modern workplace areas there across Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Teams, Power Platform. You can see my blog up there. I'm also the co-host of the Grey Hat Beards podcast. So you can find us if you search for Grey Hat Beard or go to greyhatbeard.com. Check on your provider. We talk about all things modern workplace in Microsoft 365, talk about the news in the first part, and then second part we pick a topic. And I know we've had Chirag, I think you were talking about Teams governance on there a few months back, so please do give it a listen. I had an interesting chat with someone the other day who said, I didn't realise why you were called Grey Hat Beard, but it is myself, the grey. It's gone a little bit further back these days, but I am the grey of Grey Hat Beards. Al likes to wear a hat, and Gary has a beard, which he's now contractually obliged to keep. So do give that a listen. But let's get back on now to talking about Microsoft Search. Well, actually, let's talk about Search, because first I'm going to talk about SharePoint Search. And I decided to ask people, and I decided to go outside of kind of the core community who I know who work with SharePoint, and asked a few friends, former colleagues, randomly picked about 40 people and said, what is SharePoint Search? And here's a kind of word cloud of the answers came back. You expect Search and SharePoint to be in there, but it's got ability, it's got users, management, content, a kind of blend of different things. If we look at some of those specific answers, we had one like I guess it's the ability to search for content within SharePoint sites, but that sounds too obvious. No, you're pretty close with that one. That's a fun question. It's everything from knowledge management to clutter management. And I have to admit, clutter management is a phrase I've liberally stolen. It was from Sharon Sumner, so was more connected with the community. But lovely phrase. I like that one around Search. Some people hadn't heard from me for a little while, so they thought I'd gone a little bit crazy and wasn't quite sure why I was sending that, so didn't get the most useful comments from them. But then others really knew what they were talking about and said a service inside SharePoint that allows users to quickly find documents, content, or people with a combination of search queries and filters. Now, either they were very clever or they were very good at using Bing or Google, I don't know, but it really shows that there's not a direct understanding of what SharePoint Search is there for. It's not an obvious thing. And when it comes to Microsoft Search, I could have asked what people know about that, but I imagine the majority of most users wouldn't even know what that was at all. So what is Microsoft Search? The key thing, this slide came from Ignite back in 2019, and the key thing is that one capability with every search experience. So it doesn't matter where you go to, it's going to be using the same details. It's going to have that same index, the same service, the same AI services that power it. If you're in PowerPoint looking for content, then you'd see the same or similar sorts of content come from Word. It's context aware, but it's using the same sources. Looking to get your emails from Bing. Yep, you can do that too. Want to find the last Teams message from within Windows? Well, not yet. I've done this talk a couple of times this year, and I keep hearing that it's going to be coming soon, and Microsoft Search is going to be powering Teams, and that you're also going to be able to have Microsoft Search as part of your Windows search. Hopefully Ignite is coming up. I don't know anything. I'm not giving away any secrets. I'm entirely guessing, but Ignite is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe we'll start to see something then. So definitely keep an eye out on the Microsoft Search roadmap when it comes to Ignite. Now, you may be thinking, is it just SharePoint Search extended? Many of you probably come from a SharePoint world or certainly use SharePoint quite a lot, and you know how powerful SharePoint Search can be. But actually, it's built on top of Bing technology. Does that mean that SharePoint Search disappears? No, far from it, actually. What you'll see is that SharePoint Search becomes one of the sources for the search service. It's then indexed into the large central repository, and you can see you can pull different elements in there with its team chats. We'll cover answers a bit later, but you've got Azure AD, emails, and you can even now bring your external data in there with the licensing, but I'll get onto that later. But you can ingest your own content that comes in with that too. And I will be doing some demos and things on that later. For now, just what you need to know is that you can search from all over. But how does that look? let's go in and have a look at some content now. So I'm going to flick over to demo area. Here you can see that I'm in the office.com portal. Now we always try and refresh this page before I give a demo on this. And every now and then it has moments like today where the search bar has disappeared, which is fantastic for a demo on Microsoft Search. So all I've done is just refresh that page and you'll see, thankfully, it has come back on there. If I click on it, straight away it's given me results. I haven't had to type anything, I haven't had to start doing anything, but I'm getting some results back because it knows who I am, the sort of things I've searched for previously, what I want within there. It's given me apps, given me files, people, sites, all sorts of things. If I look for projects, then I'm getting other apps like the Microsoft project. It's also picked up where I've published some custom dev apps on there. It's got top 10 projects, files, etc. But if I click on show more results, then I get even more data on there. I've got my filters. I can filter on file type or when it was last modified, whether it's in past 24 hours, weeks, even custom dates within that. As well, I'm showing everything, so I'm getting a combination of sites and I'm getting a little bit of information. So when it was last updated, how many views that site's had. It's got other ones here. I'm not using those so much, so it's not giving so much info, but I can start to see my files, where they are, how many views those those pages have had. You get information straight up. And if you've got those Office docs, you even get a little bit of a preview within that. You may have noticed as I was hovering over some of those sites, you've got some nice capabilities. So search this site. I can actually go and click and extend that search, drill down and say, no, I actually want to take it further and just look within that site. So it helps you curate down to the right place as well. If I go back to the top level, I've got these verticals. So if I know I'm just looking for files, then I can change to just looking for files. Or if it's just sites, then I can look for sites. And I can also bring back people as well. And if I look at people, maybe if I don't use projects, but look for example, marketing, it's not just searching for people by names. By looking for marketing, it's brought back people with it in their role, people with marketing in their skills. Even Deborah, it's not on the text here, but Deborah is in the marketing organization. So it's bringing people back there and bringing the results through from that automatically. You'll notice if I scroll down, actually going back to all, where we've got more results and things. As I scroll down, there's pagination down the bottom, so it brings back a certain ones and I can loop through those different pages and get an idea how many different elements there are and get the different details there. It used to have the ability to actually preview some of these slides and be able to slide through them, but I've noticed about 3 or 4 months ago that did disappear. So I don't know if they've didn't see people using that and found it was using a lot of resource. I don't know. I have to be honest, it was not one thing I used, but certainly getting that preview of the front page of the doc is useful just to get a good indication of whether it's the right information that you are looking for from that. So, slides. So that was showing it from the office.com portal. What about when you go into SharePoint itself? So having spent hours on that slide, let's jump away from it again and go back to the demo parts. And I'm going to go into, rather than that communication site, I'm going to go into the main SharePoint portal. Actually, no, sorry, I'm going to go and have a look for the Mark 8 site. So I'm going to look here from this portal. For those of you who know this demo tenant, Mark 8 is a drone that's being piloted as part of the Contoso organization. So this is the site for that project team. And you can see again, I've got that search bar along the top. What you may notice, though, is it says along the top, search this site. So it's actually giving me context. It's helping inform me about the context that it's looking for. And it's giving me news on this site. And I could look for, say, requirements. And I've gone into a similar type of view to the one I had before. It's a little bit more SharePointized than just a pure Office, so there's some slight UI tweaks to it. And I've also got a different set of verticals, so you can customize those verticals per site as well. So I haven't got the extra ones, which I will be coming back and covering a little bit later. But otherwise, I've got my docs there. I can see it's mostly Word ones. So if I go to files, I'm not going to get too much different from there. If I go to sites, there's no subsites, thankfully. If I go to news, I'm not searching for anything news. Maybe if I look for Mark 8, we'll probably a better thing. So there, I'm getting SharePoint News as part of that. Again, not getting any sites because there's no sub-sites, but I'm getting the folders, I'm getting that OneNote. And it's not just searching the names of those files, it's searching within the contents as well. So it's bringing both of those back and bringing back the different results on there. One thing you may notice is you've got a breadcrumb trail. So let's say I was looking for Mark 8, but what I was looking for wasn't in that site. I can click on organisation and it's taken me back to that same level of verticals. It's that organisation-wide search. And yes, lots of these are in the project team. I'm hoping if I scroll down and look on somewhere there, there we go, Northwind Traders Data Center. So that's actually a file on a different site, or Bay Plaza, talking about IE8. Oh, those were the days, not good ones, but those were the days that show up there as well. We're getting those different things from across the organization. But I haven't left this site. If I exit the search, there I am, still back on that Mark 8 project team. I'm not jumping around, opening different tabs. I can do my search across different contexts while still getting to the results that I actually want to get to, and then go back to whatever I was doing within there as well. I mentioned about being context aware. If I look at the documents and start, let me just clear out the Mark 8 there. You'll notice that that context has now changed to search this library. So when I do the search here, let's again look for requirements, it's just going to search in this document library. And you'll notice the way it looks is much more like that document library list. And I can even do different orders and searches. It's because you're searching within a document library, it's giving you that document library look and feel and way of working. But still using Microsoft Search, still using that same back-end index and the details on there. So you can get and look for your document. You can even tag it and have a look at the metadata and manage access and all the good things you got there. So you've got the preview exactly as if it was a document center. I'm going to jump out a sec and have a look at this HR site. So we've got some HR documents in there. Hopefully if I look for leave or something like that, I'm sure that, yeah, we go leave booking and all sorts of things within there. But if I exit that search, for those of you who know a bit about SharePoint sites, hopefully you've heard about hub sites. And this HR site is under the Work at Contoso hub site. If I go up to that Work at Contoso and again clear that out, you'll see that it says search across sites. And that context has now changed to search across all of the hub sites. And so all of the sites that are part of that hub. And again, if I look for leave, I will see that I've got benefits at Contoso. I've got that page talking from the HR site. I've got documents coming from Work at Contoso, but it is all within that hub site. It's not across the whole organization. It's within that specific hub. I'm not going to flick back to it, but you may have noticed when I looked at the HR site that actually the breadcrumb trail had Work at Contoso and then HR. So again, you can jump to those different elements as you need it to help find the things you want. Some of you will be thinking, that's very nice, that SharePoint search. I've been able to do that since, what, 2007, 2010. Yeah, there's some nice things. The context-aware stuff's good, but has much actually changed? And the answer is yes. A lot of it is the AI power underneath it. I think the quality of that search, it has the power of Microsoft Graph behind it. It knows who you are, where you sit within the organization, meetings you have, emails you send, who you work with, and all that feeds into those search results. So the quality of those, knowing what to put when, has vastly improved. But there's also additional functionality. If we go into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and let me bring up, oops, where has the left-hand navigation? It's all going strange today. I always try and make it a nice high resolution, sorry, low resolution, so that people can see things, but it seems to have hidden the navigation menu. There we go. Under settings, we have search and intelligence, and that's what this page is. You'll notice something here. If you haven't been into the search settings page, either before or not for a while, you may not have seen this, but they now are starting to get some stats. About 3 or 4 months ago, the only stats that came through were actually the ones down here about Bing queries. Now, it's probably worth jumping aside to that and looking there. If I log into Bing, you can see it's got me registered as having logged in, and it's got the latest information. So same as you get in office.com, if I use Bing, hopefully some of you do, I know most of you will be using Google, but if you use Bing, you've now got your corporate content within there as well. And if I search, for example, for Mark 8, I don't want to search for Mark 8. Well, you can see it's auto-completed with Mark 8 project team, and it's given me a lovely card there. It's not what I wanted to do. There you can see Mark 8, lots of great Bible verses talking about Mark 8. But at the top, it's saying, do you want to get the results from Contoso Electronics, my organization? And I can click on see your results there. And I'm now getting that familiar verticals that are kind of off to the side. They're horizontal verticals, but I'm still getting those filters that I can get, and I'm still getting those results. You get a slightly different view of the way it renders things. So you've got this nice bar. It's picked up that public group and given members. I can look at the profile there. If I look, for example, for Adele Vance and look for people, I get a lovely card, which I think looks actually better than some of the other ones you get from the main results, but you get some nice search results coming through Bing. Now, previously, the only stats you got were from those Bing ones, and I think with the best will in the world, I'm hoping Microsoft only put it in there because they hadn't implemented this yet, because not that many people I know were using Bing to search for internal content. But now you're getting these queries. It is in preview, and you can click the link and find more about it, but you're now getting the search queries from across your organization. So it's everything from office.com and sharepoint.com. I believe the plan is to get it from Office, and certainly when Teams comes into that, to bring those different ones in as well. And you can see top queries, see what was most searched. This is a demo tenant. I'm not using it that much, so it's not really powering too much at the moment, but you can see where people search for something and got no results, and where people search for things and got not clicked. So you can use this to get some insight in terms of what people are doing within there. Moving on to the next tab is where some of the interesting things start to go on. And what you've got here, for those who've come again from the SharePoint world, you may have had best bets and things like that. These are an extension to some of those best bets. The first one, which I absolutely love, is this ability to add acronyms. So I can click on here, add an acronym. I'm sure you have plenty of TLAs, 3-letter acronyms in your organization that when you've been there for a few years, a few months, everyone spits out and you'll understand. But on your first day, you sit there and you have no idea what on earth people are talking about. Hopefully everyone here knows what M365 UK stands for, though, because it stands for the Microsoft 365 UK user group. And you'll see as I'm typing up the top there, this is the display of how it will look. We can say the best Microsoft 365 user group in the world. And you could put some links in there and details about it to give more information. But when people look for M365 user group, then they'll get that result back. Just going to publish that one so you can see. Oh, now this has changed recently. I like that. It's now giving you an indication of how long it will take to appear. I was just about to say it takes a day or so occasionally, but saying up to 7 hours. So they've even improved that since I last looked. The one thing I don't look, if I have a look, for example, GHB, you'll see it doesn't show any results. And if I click on enter, nothing turns up within there, which is a bit of a shame. Because what you actually need to type is define GHB, and then you get that acronym. So for these acronyms, they won't appear there in the search. There is a certain amount of education that you need to teach people to write, define, and that. Do I like that? No. Really think that's a pain in the backside, and that there is a habit that needs to be formed that I think is lost slightly there. I wish if I could just type GHB, it would appear as the result, but unfortunately not for those acronyms. That is the one downside to that, but really good to have that in one place. The observant among you will have noticed that you can import and export, so you could keep those in a file and have them updated on a regular basis and filter through. You can even put them in a SharePoint list, have a flow that exports to file, and on a regular basis import that. Isn't any APIs that I know about yet. Hopefully that will come at some point, but you can expose these and get the details, and you can even have draft ones and exclude ones that you want to remove temporarily and add back in later. Going on to bookmarks, there's even more you can do. So bookmarks are your more traditional best bet. So you can see you've got a sample title. We could have a bookmark for let's say Tech Chirag, and we could have a URL to it. Twitter.com/Tech Chirag, the greatest Twitter account for Microsoft 365. And again, you can see you're getting that preview of what it will look like right away at the top. You can also add for bookmarks keywords. So if anyone search for Twitter, I either want to get this result. If anyone searches for, let's say M365, I want that to appear on there. And this is where some of the AI kicks in. You can also say automatically match similar keywords, so you can get other things. So it may pick up Facebook, LinkedIn. It will recognize things using all the knowledge that Microsoft has for these different bits. Or you can say, no, actually, I only want it when people exactly match on there. The useful one about having the automatically is you don't need to worry about plurals. You don't need to be quite so extensive with things. It will use intelligence to pick that out. If you want a reserved keyword, which means that no other bookmarks can use this keyword, you can put that in. So maybe if you have Christmas party, you don't want everyone to create a whole load of bookmarks for all the different department Christmas parties. You want it to be the main corporate one. You can reserve that and just knock everyone else. And if you try and put that into another one, it will stop people from doing that. You have the ability to have categories. These don't affect the end user at all. These are purely for managing those bookmarks in this admin center, which is only available to admins. So useful for those who like to be organized, which should be all of you, but nothing that impacts the user. Better though, down here are things like this. So the dates, when that loads, let's see. I'm just going to refresh the page and hope that comes back. But with the dates, you can set a start date and an end date for those published events. So let's go back to Grey Hat Beard. Always worth going to. And I'm going to edit that one. And hopefully this will appear now. Fantastic. So you can see it's either always available or you can choose a start and end date. If we go back to that Christmas party, you might not be too worried about a start date, but you'll trigger it from when you create it. But come January, you don't want the Christmas party link appearing as a bookmark. So you can set either 1st January or even just after Christmas and not have to remember to go back and remove that. You can set an end date for that. If you've got different Christmas parties for different regions, or maybe you've got a leave app or something that you're putting a bookmark to, different policies for different regions perhaps, then you can select those. It's worth noting that those there are a smaller list of country. It's not every country, and the things, the regions, the different languages on there. So it's a subset, it's not perfect, but helps to filter on the main ones if you are working for a multinational. Probably if you've got more detail, you'll have some Microsoft 365 groups, and you probably use people being in those groups rather than the location if you've got that well defined. So you can define oh, I don't know what's going on with this admin center today. That's lovely behavior, but you'll have to trust me on that one, that within there you can click on it and you can search for those Microsoft 365 groups. Very bizarre because I can click on things, but I can't see them. You can click on the groups and filter by that. Again, device and OS, then you could select whether it's PC, Windows, Mac. So could be for different devices. You want different ones to appear. You've also got targeted variations. A variation is a combination of device, OS and the region. So if you want a combination of those both, you don't need to create multiple bookmarks. You can just create the different variations. So some nice things you can do there. My favorite one of these, though, is the Powerapp. If you've created a Powerapp, say you have a leave booking one or maybe a help desk tool, then you can put the app ID for that and it will appear in the search results. Let's have a look. I mentioned help desk. If I type help, then I get the help desk app and I could click on that and it will take me to that app full page. But if I go to show more results, I've got that nice bookmark that appears. Probably should have checked this recently. It looks like my trial has run out on Powerapps. That's slightly awkward. You would actually see the Powerapp there. And when you click on it, you'll see it full screen and you can actually interact. So no having to go to another tab, no doing anything else. You can go in and use that trial. Might be time for me to finally refresh this demo tenant, sadly, but you can go in and see the Powerapp there on the screen, whether it's mobile one as it's showing here, or if you've got it in landscape as a tablet app, you get that fuller page on there. But if you've got those Powerapps, getting into them is really useful from there. So that's something we've found very useful with some clients as well. Going back to the list of bookmarks, the other nice thing, and again, I talk about AI a lot. Gosia's brilliant talk earlier, which he did live demos and bots, which I thought was very brave, but went very well. AI is such a big thing about Microsoft Search. It really is what the extension is. And with that, it's got things like suggested. Now, these are a range of recommendations from Microsoft. So, for example, I haven't got any bookmark about benefits. So they know that many intranets should have a link to benefits and it's recommended that. But if you have this in your organization, it will also pick up on things that people are searching for. So if people are searching for bus timetables or lunch menu, then it will have and pop up and regularly recommend new things within here. I am intrigued by the number of organisations that see philanthropy as a major thing that people search for. I think that's fantastic, but I'd be slightly surprised. So there's not always relevant things here. And you can even get rid of these. So you could, you can click on it, edit it, and then publish that. Or you can say exclude, actually, please stop sending facilities to me. I don't want that to appear anymore. In fact, sorry, delete rather than the thing. So if you don't like the suggested ones, you can clear those out on there. I leave philanthropy in because it always makes me chuckle slightly. But really useful being able to have that suggested one to see what people are searching for. It fits in with that insight side of things as well. I'm going to jump a couple and just go on to QnA. We'll come back to the others in a sec. QnA, Gosia talked in the first half about QnA Maker and the abilities with Lewis and things. This effectively is QnA Maker within your Microsoft Search, and you can import and export those values and ask questions. So you can see there the question, how do I book leave? I can search for how do I book holiday? And that same one comes up. So it's using that intelligence. It knows that leave and holiday are referred to as the same thing. So it will pick up the two different ways. You don't need to exactly match. This isn't a regular expression. It's getting an indication for those questions. And generally, when people ask questions, they'll put them in different formats. And this hopes to cater for that as well. Next one is location. So if you have multiple offices, or even maybe you have retail spaces or factories on there, you can put those different locations. Excuse me. You can put those different locations. If we look at the CPS headquarters, you can see that it will display with a map. You've got that Bing map there. Again, this would show up in the search results. I can expand that. I can zoom out. I have noticed, actually, it's not showing up here today, which is slightly, oh, there we go. I have noticed that Bing Maps, when you put locations in there, almost always seems to find a pub nearby. So it's probably geared slightly more towards the British. I like that. I think that's worthwhile, but very useful. You can share that to people, show where all the local pubs are for the different locations. You can see you get a history of this. So what's been changed. Oops, scroll down to the bottom. If you don't have a specific address, for example, we have one client that works in property, and when they're building things, sometimes don't have a postcode. You can put a latitude and longitude. You've got that same ability. In fact, if I edit it, similar to the bookmarks, you can put keywords, reserved keywords, and different parts on there. You don't have, you can put it in draft. You don't have that ability to put to different times or anything like that, but really, really useful and powerful. Taking on from that, as well as your buildings, you can, as part of your Microsoft Search license, no extra cost, upload floor plans. I say no extra cost. Those floor plans generally are AutoCAD. If I click on add floor plan, you have to define a building. So let's put the APAC headquarters, for example. Whoa, what's happened there? For the Asia Pac headquarters, and you can see here files must be in the DWG format. So assuming you have that, I think you can do that with Visio. I haven't tried it per se, but effectively you can get that floor plan. I do have a video I still haven't quite published that I will get out and make available with how to do this and some more detailed steps. But to give you an idea on what it looks like, I mentioned Adele. It's not Adele that I've got the correct value for. I should remember who it was. Was it Christy Klein? This is where I'm going to have to go back to my notes because I never remember the right name for it. There we go, Christy Klein, perfect. So if I look for that person, get that card within Bing or from office.com, I can click on their desk location. And that will show that floor plan and exactly where that desk is. Now, at previous organisations, we had, I think it went on for about 2 years, several £100,000 trying to get a system that could do this, that actually worked, that integrated with Azure AD, and we never really got a satisfying one. Here, you've got it included in your Microsoft 365 license. Assuming you have those floor plans and you've got all those objects laid out and you can map the IDs for each of those blocks to data in your Active Directory, you can render that to a lot of people. I think this is really useful. I know many of you are sitting at home thinking, yeah, but I just sit at home now. Yep, fair point. I'll live to that one. But having that capability to do that is really useful. So definitely something that I think is one of the big benefits from Microsoft Search. I'm just going to take a pause and have a drink and see if there's any questions on there. And Andrew, yes, I'll publish that question now. A lot of interest from facilities around how to use this. One thing that's been on my side project I really would like to do but haven't got round to is to see how well this could integrate with something like a Powerapp, where you could render this and search it a lot more easily within there, and even be able to overlay on this where the different desks are. I think it would be a lovely use of it. Not something I've done, so don't get too excited, but the capabilities feels like it should be there, and if not, one day. But yeah, definitely something I really like from the details there. And in terms of updating that, yeah, you've got the same ability to filter, see when things are published, etc., etc. Try and speed up a little bit. So as you can see, that back end, those answers section, give you quite a lot more powerful things than the previous just bookmarks and things you can do. And there's some clever AI-driven stuff that makes it easier to do things as well. The other key area is Microsoft Graph. So this is what now powers your extensions to Search, to Microsoft Search. And this is also what powers the ability to pull your own data into Microsoft Search. There's 3 ways of doing this. I need to take that preview. It's no longer in preview. These are all general availability. The first is there are a set of Microsoft built connectors. So these are included with your license. I'm going to cover licenses in a minute because it's not quite as nice a story as it used to be, but there are some predefined ones that you can use. Assuming you have the right index, then you can go with those. And there are things like file drives and others I'll show in the next slide in a sec. If you don't, if you have something third party, say something like Jira, maybe SAP, other things that don't meet one of those Microsoft ones, there is a set of partners that have already included those. And if you go look for Microsoft Search connectors, there's a big long list of hundreds. I think Accenture do some of them, Capgemini have created them, and there's connections to all sorts, which I'll show in a sec. If you've got developers though, you can actually use a Microsoft Graph Search API to create your own. Going back to the Microsoft built ones, at the moment, I'm going to say at the moment there are 10. I went into my tenant today and it's gone back down to 8. And so when I took this screenshot, it had Oracle SQL database as a preview and a new Microsoft SQL server. That one seems to have these two seem to have disappeared. So they either weren't popular or they've decided to pull them back. But you can see that you get the ones you probably expect from Microsoft. So things like Azure DevOps, SQL Server, but ones you wouldn't necessarily. So there's obviously a partnership with Microsoft and ServiceNow with your connecting to get your ITIL, your incident tickets, or whether you've got the knowledge hub in ServiceNow, you can pull that data and have that available in your search. If you've got MediaWiki running internally, maybe you've got some wiki contents and you wanted that to power search, you can do that as well. If you've got your own external website, there's often times when your intranet and external website feel very disconnected. You can pull those pages directly in and have those appear in SharePoint Search, as well as Azure SQL, even on-premise SQL, so you can pull data out from those as well. If one of those 10 or 8 as it seems to be now doesn't meet what you want, as I mentioned, there's partner connectors. Hopefully you can read that nicely, but there's things like GitLab on there, OpenText, Pirobase CMS, SAP ERP, even SharePoint 2013 if you really, really wanted to on there. But, oops, sorry. But that gives you the different connectors and pieces that you can get without you having to have a developer. You can go and speak to one of the partners, get a hold of those, and just get it working. If you do have developers, then what I would say is there's a way to do that. Now I'm going to jump into the demo. I'm not going to demo the full development ways of doing this. That would be a whole talk in itself. But if you go to my blog, bookd79.com, it's about, I think, the 3rd post down now, 4th post, 5th. Oh, I have been a bit more active. There I have a post called Creating a Custom Microsoft Search Connector with Logic Apps. And in there I go through the steps. And for those who know a bit of development, I'm using Logic Apps, and then you can get a trigger from it. So the example I gave was tweets. You can see an example of it there. So I'm actually picking up the hashtag #CollabTalk. Whenever someone tweets there, it gets added to my search index. So if I go back to search, you probably saw Twitter there. If I look for #CollabTalk, oops, book, then you can see I'm bringing back those different areas in there. So for example, hybrids is in there. Okay, if I search for hybrid, it will bring back those results. I just use Twitter because there's a nice API. I can connect to it very easily with Logic Apps. You could create it with Azure functions. There's all sorts of different ways, but it's not too hard actually to connect if there's something with an API and pull that external data in. If you're not a developer, it's still not too bad, because if you go to connectors and you've got one of those 10 Microsoft ones, I will come to that big red box in a minute, but you can connect on enterprise websites. And you can fill out the data, give it a connection ID. You can see there's a set of steps that it goes through. And I talk about this a little bit more in the blog, so I'm not going to run through too much more now. But you define a schema. So you say, when I pick up from that website, is it going to pick up the header name? Is it going to pick up the page title? And there's a nice, Gosia was talking about the adaptive cards. It's something very similar to adaptive cards specific to Microsoft Search that you can define a schema, and that will bring your results back. And so if I close that, which it's not letting me on this resolution, but you can see here, for example, my blog I've included on there. So if I click on that, if I look at the last crawl, I can see that it had 81 successes. So it's actually crawled across my blog. All I've had to do is point at the blog, say I want it, the schema actually I went for the base one. And it means that if I look for example, connectors, it will bring back all my posts where I've mentioned connectors. And when I click on that, we'll open a new tab straight to that page. So you can integrate your own web pages pretty easily from that. And if you want to extend it, then you go down the more developer route. The other one I'll show while I'm here is also the ability to search a database. So in this case, it was a parts, whoops. It's when I can't spell. It's a parts database. So if you look for fridges, you get here you can see the card I've rendered that I want to pull back this field and this description and the price and the inventory. And every time that changes, you can get a trigger. So it's not like you have to have a nightly process. You could if you wanted it to not hit the database too much, but generally will be a trigger based update to it. And within a few minutes, it will appear into your search results. So you can have those live updates as well. Now, that's the good news and the exciting stuff about all those connectors. Let's come back to the elephant in the room of this big bar here. When this was in preview, you had free, I've got an E3 tenant here, and you had 2 million items of index free as part of that. Now that preview has ended, you need an E5 account, or you need to purchase an additional quota specifically. So you don't have to have E5. You get 2 million items of index space with E5, or as it says here, you can click and purchase more. You can see different details around that. I think it had pricing somewhere. It's been on the next page here. Yeah, it used to very nicely have details and pricing. Certainly if you follow those links and have a look at purchase services in your page, it will give you an indication. But I really liked this, and then they again changed the licensing, or rather when they went live with it, put the licensing there. It does mean you need to think about it. So if you're looking for that external data, it's certainly something you want to check on what the details are with that and what's available. So a little bit of a shame on that one. I touched on other bits there, so you can see here that I've got the results types. This is where I've defined, you can see you've got that adaptive card JSON. It does, I think if I click on edit here, there is a launch layout designer. So it's a very nicely guided way of doing it. It's not that you have to define everything in JSON. You see you can define your template and put the different things there and use the extra bits there, but really useful from that. I can see Chirag popping up, which means I need to rattle on and jump back on there. Thanks, Chirag. I've gone through the demos. Very quick mention on this, github.com/KevMcDonk. I've created an app. So I mentioned that everything's in graph. You can connect all these search results. So if you want to create a custom application, you can still pull those results out using the Microsoft Graph to get that detail out. You know, use adaptive cards. I even pulled in QnA Maker alongside that. Just going to flip back. I've got again on my blog if you're interested in that, just to show what it looks like. This one came from, I love all that functionality, but I don't want it to be in SharePoint. Can I get access to that? And we said no, that would be horrible, and then eventually relented, as you do, sadly. But here you can see you can pull back the search results, not rendering it with the best card, but it gives you an indication of what you can do there. Please at Kev McDonk if you've got any questions on that. Very quickly, what else is coming? There's more coming where if you search for a person, you can then sit in the same way where I search with the sites, you can search within that context of the site. It's now going to be in a person. So if you know that someone created a doc, search that person, then search within their context to help find that doc is now available. And there's going to be more skills and more content. There's going to be more external connectors coming, those Microsoft ones. I hope that we're going to start to see some community ones available. I've certainly published that Twitter one is up on my GitHub at Kev McDonk if you want that. So I hope that more will come. There'll be more hubs, so we'll see Teams come. I mentioned Windows, and I think we'll see also a dedicated search on its own. And finally, my favorite topic, as you can see from my board, if you can see just about behind me, Viva Topics, formerly known as Project Cortex, is going to be powered by so much stuff, search stuff. We know those topics, use search fundamentally. There's going to be so much coming from that and so much good news. Listen out at Ignite. So in summary, the what? Search across your Microsoft 365 content and your own now with Microsoft Graph and AI. Why? Because it's one place to get everything you need. And how? You've got that search box, you've got the results from configuration, and you can develop with the Microsoft Graph. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. That was an excellent session, and lots to cover in the demos. So really appreciate for that. And I think the floor plans is one of my favorites in terms of the benefits. I think it's such a big win in terms of just to get something really quickly up and running and you know, have that visibility around the usage and, you know, where people are. And certainly as a consultant, when I go to lots of places, you know, trying to find somebody who sits where is, you know, it's
not phoning them and then getting them to wave and, you know, the classic things like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. But now listen, that's great. I think we had some thoughts and questions. I think anyways, I think you had a look at them earlier from Andrew McCallum. We'll give a couple of minutes for folks to add more questions to it. But I think if I can maybe summarize, I guess, from the question side of things, is you know, a good point from Andrew that it's obviously in order to try and track people, you know, where they've been working on the building usage, if you like, to try and add up the costs value is obviously always a challenge around that. And I think, in my view, it's obviously a facilities management database, if you like, isn't it? A classic case of trying to get all those KPIs and reporting and everything else. But yeah, I think, oh, good. I think there was just the last question there from Andrew there asking, sorry, is regarding the map function. Do you know when that is due?
I assume by the map function you mean that floor plan. It's available now. It's live now, so you can use that. I'm absolutely amazed that more people aren't. Okay. Yeah, it's there.
Okay, that's good. I think there was the other maps as well that you were showing, isn't it? Where you type in the location, latitude, longitude. That's all.
Yeah, that's definitely there. Now that is something we are actively using. We've put in with a couple of clients where they have their different offices, and they can help find where the nearest pub is as well.
Sure. Good, great. Okay, so I think, yeah, let's just give a minute. I'll just load my slides up and just kind of try and wrap up the session today. But just want to say, again, thanks for your time and the work that you do in the community. And, hope to meet you soon, Kevin, as well. And hopefully with more conferences and events. But yeah, great stuff. Thanks. And
I'm going to give a shameless shout out for the South Coast Summit, which is coming in October.
No,
yeah, it's southcoastsummit.org. Going to be a big UK event. It's going to be huge and is looking more and more like being the first in-person conference in the UK this year. I know Comsverse might be sneaking in there as well, but I think it'll be a really great event. So if you are looking forward to seeing people, please do keep an eye out, sign up for updates on that.
No, absolutely. Is it in October? Is it, sorry, I missed that. Is it July or October? I
believe it's October.
Okay. Right. Fingers crossed. Hopefully lockdown will be over, then we'll be there. And I think, yeah, while we're here as well, I think there's a Scottish summit happening as well on the 27th of Feb in 10 days time. So if you haven't already, that's another free event to have a look at. There's over 250 sessions there as well. I'm speaking there as well. So hopefully we can all meet up virtually. So that's another one to watch out. But yeah, I think we're good to go. And so in terms of, want to say big thanks to the attendees as well for being here. Hopefully you got a lot out of these sessions today. And next month on the 17th of March, we have Seb Matthews, who's one of the organizers for SPS London. And, many of you will be familiar with him. So really looking forward to meeting and learn some of the tips and tricks as well around the governance. But also we have Veronica Lingel around topics on PowerShell PNP, and she's also a member of the great initiative there run by the Microsoft community folks. So yeah, 2 great sessions. Hopefully you can make it. And the links are there. So meetup.com/M365UK is where all the event information is held. And like I've posted in the links in the Q&A, hopefully we'll try and make the videos available and the slides by this Friday, so that hopefully you can refer back. And thanks really to Gosia earlier on as well for being part of the M365 UK and delivering a great session and demo. So great event today. Really enjoyed it. And I think with that, just want to say thanks to everyone, and please take care of yourself.